I'm here to disrupt everything the diet and food industry has told you for years. What if you could stop obsessing over food and weight, understand exactly what your body really needs to thrive, all while learning how to feel empowered, confident, and in control? Hey there, I'm Carrie Lapoli, a certified nutritionist, award-winning educator, behavioral specialist, international speaker, and mom of two amazing college-age daughters. I'm here to help you disrupt everything the diet industry has told you about your health and your body. So here's the truth. Sure, what we put in our bodies matters, and it's more than just nutrition. As a nutritionist and a behavioral expert, I'm uniquely qualified to marry both the science of what our bodies need along with how to change your relationship with food, and all while realizing your value. I want to help teach you to reach your health, wellness, and yes, even weight loss goals with powerful conversations, science-backed strategies, and real talk. I'll teach you how to break free from the cycle of dieting, deprivation, and self-sabotage and start truly living. No more temporary fixes here, just sustainable wellness for you, your family, and your future that no one is talking about. You were not put on this earth to find the right diet, so it's time to stop living like you were. Join me each and every week as I share practical advice, a fresh perspective on the power of mindset, and tips that empower you to live your purpose, all while still enjoying the foods you love, and yeah, that even includes carbs. So if you want something different, you have to do something different. Consider me your something different. Welcome to the Diet Disruptors podcast. Well, hey there, Diet Disruptors. Welcome to another episode on the series of supplements, and more accurately, supplementation. And my 6 spinning plates that I teach all of my clients and my health pros, my nutritionists that I certify through my certification program is all about nutrition, movement, hydration, sleep, managing our stress, and supplementation. That 6 spinning plate is one that eludes so many people. We think, okay, what supplements should I be taking? Sure, we could be doing things like vitamins and minerals and creatine and all that kind of stuff. And yes, we talk about a lot of that during the series. But there's also some other things that I call supplemental that we should be focusing on. In our last episode, we brought in Dan Miller, who is an absolute genius in all things health. And he shared with us about saunaing and why heat is so important. And I put that in the category of my 6 spinning plates because it's supplemental. And this week I'm bringing Dan back because Dan has been a guest coach in my private practice many, many times. And there are 2 episodes in particular that he did with my personal clients that I felt like were really a pivotal piece of the puzzle for you to know. And that's why I'm bringing those episodes into my public podcast. So last week, Dan came on and talked to us about being in the sauna. And this week, I am just basically replaying for you my private practice client coaching call that he did about mushrooms. Now, this might sound weird, Carrie. We're doing a whole series on supplements, supplemental, but mushrooms are a food. Wouldn't that fall into nutrition? Yes. And the reason why I'm doing that for this series is because Dan has developed a product that is nowhere else in the world. Literally nobody else is doing this. Anytime you see something with mushrooms in it, it's a product that has mushrooms added to it. I see that with coffee. I see that with mocktails. But Dan actually developed a product that people think is a supplement, and it is in some ways treated like a supplement, which is why I'm putting it into this series. But it is like this kind of crazy combination because the mushrooms that he sources and packages, grinds up into a powder and packages, we use as supplemental options, kind of like a seasoning, if you will, in so many different areas of food. And so I just thought this is an important topic for you guys to see, to understand the power of mushrooms, and then what he has done to be able to make it so much more accessible for us to use as supplementation. But it's not a supplement. It's not something manufactured like supplements are. This is literally real mushrooms, organically grown, ground up into powders, and then you can add them into so many different things, your smoothies, your coffees, your mocktails, your cocktails. I mean, like stews, salads, literally it's endless. And so I asked Dan if we could use the coaching call that I did for my private practice and my clients and bring it out into my podcast, because I think this product called Purist Mushrooms is something the whole world needs to see. And what he has done is literally not out there. So I want you to learn about it, hear from him directly. This is such an important episode because you are going to learn a ton. So let's go and replay my coaching call for my private practice with the very own Dan Miller, who I actually had a recent opportunity to talk on the TEDx stage with. He is that amazing and that much of a resource for you. So go check it out. Well, hey there, you all. I am thrilled to bring back one of our most popular guest coaches here at Disruptive Nutrition. I mean, Dan Miller is like an OG guest coach. Like literally, you are one of the originals. We were just talking before we came on that you were doing coaching with us when I was living in Mexico, and we've just been around for a long time. Dan is the man that is going to live till how long?
Right now, I'm set to live to 130, but I can change that whenever I want to, right?
I love it. We are all about longevity. This year has been a theme for us around really recognizing our why, so far beyond the number on the scale, so far beyond the things that diet culture keeps telling us is important, and recognizing that in order to do the things that we were really meant to do on this earth, we have to live as long and as strong as possible. And you are all about that. Am I right?
Well, and Carrie, it's not just about living long, it's about living healthy enough to do the things you want to do. And this is what I tell people, and I know you tell them the same thing, but maybe they need to hear it from my voice because my hair looks cool. If you're not healthy, how can you serve others? And that's a thing that we don't think enough about, is we are on earth to do something. What is it? Right? Let's go find out what that is. But you can't do it sick in bed when you can't do anything but just barely manage your own life. So get healthy so you can serve others. That's what this is, my temple for me to serve my community.
Our life, take care of it. I call it our life container. We actually have shirts. I should have worn my shirt. Love your body, live your purpose, because you cannot do the things that you were supposed to be doing if you're not. And we say that all the time. Like, we were put on this earth to serve others, not to look a certain way for others, not based on ego, but based on heart. And so you and I speak literally the same language. And, you know, I think that the other big piece of this is recognizing not just who you are, what you need to do, but really, like you just said, we have to recognize that our body is a temple, and we keep going for like what feels good in the moment without actually thinking about the ramifications. You've taught us so much about plant-based proteins, about heat and sweating. And today you are going to teach us about a whole nother layer of our health. And I love that about you, because just like me, you're not like, eat this, don't eat that. You just live a multi-layered, healthy life. It's who you are, not just what you do.
Yeah, well, and there's other things we get to talk about later, because there's some stuff my kids and I have been working on that's life-changing as far as how we look at this. What is health? What is fitness? And how does that all play into longevity? But today we get to talk about fungus. And I don't mean the stuff between your toes, and I don't mean the stuff that grows in the corner of the shower. I mean the stuff that humans have been eating since before written communication.
And the fungus among us has been something that we have been talking about all year. In fact, one of our coaches, Coach Donna, has gone on a year-long journey all around fungus. Every time I look for little mushroom things, because they're all kind of the rage. Mushrooms are having a moment, if you will. And I'm not sure we know enough about them. People are just thinking like all mushrooms are created equal, or I got to just start doing mushrooms and not the mushrooms that maybe
we were talking about in college, totally different kind of mushroom, but they're having a moment. And if there's anybody I'm going to bring out to be able to help us really understand the power of mushrooms, what they do for us, and how to choose the ones that are actually going to do what they need to do and not cause more havoc in our body, it's Dan Miller. So super excited.
I appreciate you. And maybe, Carrie, the reason people are paying attention to the chaga mushroom is because of some of the mainstream research being done with the psilocybin-based mushrooms. And maybe that's why. Maybe people are finally paying attention to the fact that, look, since I was a kid, we've been putting mushrooms on pizza. These are foods, right? Mushrooms are nothing more than food. And we tell people, you'll find it on our website all the time, our product is food. We're not selling it's considered a supplement, but it's a food. It's a mushroom that you can grow yourself if you choose to, right?
Yeah. And actually, you make a really good point because, we talk about the 6 spinning plates: nutrition, movement, hydration, sleep, managing our stress, and supplements. And this topic we're going to talk about, mushrooms, has been sitting in the supplement world, but in all reality, it's part of the nutrition plate. It's actually foundational. It's just that, like, there's multiple ways to get your mushrooms. I don't love it in the supplement market. I mean, there's a lot of supplements selling mushrooms as a supplement, adding all sorts of stuff to it.
Yeah.
It really is a food. So tell us about why mushrooms matter so much.
Well, so we grew up alongside these things. Look, if you want to use intelligent design, or if you want to use Darwinian evolution, or if you want to use a combination of those plus the Martians, whatever, we've been alongside the fungus group of foods since the dawn of humanity. They're actually older than humans are. So they've been around forever. And when you look at an animal, which is us, we're an animal, that evolves alongside a thing, then you might find some synergies in there. And we can go all the way back. We go back before recorded human history. We're talking tens of thousands of years. We know humans were eating mushrooms. There's even a theory that the reason our brain grew so big so fast, our prefrontal cortex that allows us to use our thumbs, the other animals aren't doing that yet, even the animals with thumbs, right? There's a theory that says the reason we're using our thumbs and our brain grew so fast is because humans discovered by accident those mushrooms that change that give you some psychoactive activity, like the psilocybin-based mushrooms, like the Amanita muscaria mushroom. So it goes way back. We're talking hundreds of thousands, even millions of years in some people's estimation, that these things have had an effect on us.
Today's episode is brought to you by Zyve 7. It is time to awaken your digestion because your gut health relies on you. Everything is attached to our gut. And if our gut ain't happy, ain't nothing in our body happy. And if you are a woman who is also going through menopause, your gut health is more important than ever before. Zyve 7 is a finely tuned symphony of gut health for your daily ritual, blending nature's intelligence with scientific precision. And I have had the honor of being able to work on this product myself. So I know exactly where all the ingredients are sourced from and why the ingredients are that powerful. It is not only a digestive enzyme, but it also has protective probiotics, enzymes, prebiotics. It is your first step to improve your gut health, banish your bloating, smooth sailing every day with regularity, and stay consistent with your blood sugar levels. Go check out shopzyve.com now.
Well, that's what's so interesting because you go to the grocery store, right? Because if we're talking about this as food, you can go to the grocery store, your farmer's market, all of that, and get mushrooms.
Right.
And you can also buy mushrooms in packages as powder and things like that. So we're going to talk about both of those things, but talk about, like, when I'm going into that grocery store, what am I typically finding? And, what am I thinking about as I'm shopping in terms of, especially for us, right? Like, Dan, you're talking to women, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, menopausal, that kind of stuff. We're not talking about men as much. We're not talking about younger people as much. Think about this menopausal woman. What are we looking at?
Yeah, so you're looking at mushrooms, you're looking at food. You can find lion's mane mushrooms in some grocery stores.
I saw it at Whole Foods recently.
Right, and it's beautiful, isn't it? It's one of the most stunningly beautiful mushrooms I've ever seen. And I was just scuba diving on the island of Bonaire, and underwater there's coral systems that look exactly like mushrooms. It is incredible the coincidence that nature has, that this system of coral, which is plant and animal combined in the same organism, that looks exactly like mushrooms that you would find growing on the ground
Yeah,
outside.
I mean, even at Costco, they have this whole now at my Costco, this whole variety pack of all sorts of mushrooms. I had never seen that before. So, what are the benefits overall? If we're talking about mushrooms and what we know we've been doing them for a really long time, but why should I make this a priority in my nutrition?
Right. So you're going to find mushrooms categorized, right?
Right.
We're going to call these food mushrooms, and then you call these medicinal mushrooms.
Okay.
And medicinal mushrooms can mean anything from like our lion's mane product, which has specific functions in the human body and shown to be specific functions through multiple clinical trials, lab tests, you name it. And then you have what we call food mushrooms, which, like the button mushroom that you find on most pizzas, really doesn't have, other than some of the enzymes and some of the vitamins and minerals in it. It really doesn't serve any other function. We haven't found that, oh, this thing activates neural pathways. We haven't found that in some of the most common mushrooms that you'd see in the store. However, they're really, really great sources of minerals. They're really great sources of vitamins. They're fantastic food sources. There's great fiber in there. Some mushrooms, like the portobello, have giant amounts of protein, considering it's a fungus. Remember, these aren't plants, they're fungus. And fungus, these particular fungus, are more closely related to humans than we are to some other animals.
Wow.
So yeah, it's there's some synergy here, and there has been for a long, long time. And we can go back to, look, I'm going to quote Hippocrates, because most people know Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine. Back in 450 BC, he was classifying a type of mushroom as an anti-inflammatory. That's almost 3,000 years ago. We knew that these mushrooms were anti-inflammatory in nature. And I say, look, Chinese medicine's way older than what we consider Western medicine. How long did we know that lion's mane mushroom helped the brain function better? Because I'm going to guess it's probably before we were writing things down.
Mm-hmm.
So some mushrooms, we call them medicinal mushrooms or functional mushrooms.
Okay.
Are going to be different, same family of things, right? They're all fungus, but they're going to be different and serve different functions than the stuff you might commonly find on your pizza or in your pasta.
Right. And that's what you're typically seeing in your grocery store. There might be a few, like you said, like lion's mane here and there, but they're harder to get, they're rarer, and they're like, when you think about it, like if you're getting something that is harder to get, it's harder to transport, you're not going to find them in your local grocery store as much. So that's where you, as this, I mean, an incredible health and wellness guru, truly the multi-layered approach is exactly what you teach. It's how you live. It's about identity and understanding a bigger why than most people ever consider. And so mushrooms was a real passion for you because you knew how powerful they could be, but you can't get them so readily. And that's why you actually founded Purist Mushrooms. So
yeah. Carrie, it's me and two other guys, right? Daniele Bolelli from History on Fire, one of the most popular history podcasters in the world, and a brilliant historian that teaches at the university level. And then our buddy Albert, who used to own a float clinic in California and sold that, I believe, pre-pandemic, and was looking for another project. We all teamed up together and said, here are the problems we see in the mushroom industry. Right?
What were the problems?
A lot of heavy metals. People advertising things that aren't true, people saying, oh, this is this, but it's kind of not. It might be some filler. People putting this in capsules with more filler than mushrooms and that happens all the time in the supplement industry. And we wanted to approach this and go, well, what can we do to offer people mushrooms
like
without
food.
anything else?
Food.
Yeah, food. And in a way that they can consume it fairly readily. We put all of our mushrooms in powders. You scoop them into anything. Put them on your pizza, put them on your pasta, put them in your ground beef. You take our powder and you mix a little bit of it, half a teaspoon, in your coffee, and all of a sudden you have a better morning and you feel like you're functioning better because you threw some food in your coffee that doesn't affect the flavor so much that you're like, ew, I'm eating a mushroom. It's not like that at all because you're not using 3 tablespoons in there, right? Half a tablespoon, good to go.
Half
We
a
decided,
tablespoon or half a teaspoon?
half a teaspoon, sorry.
Yeah, I was
We
gonna say,
wanted to
I think I use half a teaspoon. Okay.
yeah, and look, here's what I like about this. You can't take too much. There's no way you're going to eat too many mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
So you can't overdose on it. It's not going to have an effect on anyone unless you're allergic to mushrooms. This stuff is consumable by every human on the planet. We've been doing this for a long time, unless you're allergic. And the effects that you might see from it, that we have clinical evidence that you might most likely probably see from it, why wouldn't you do it? Why?
Right.
And when you're in that pattern, why wouldn't you just keep going? It's a food.
Right.
So
And that's the thing, right? This is not a supplement with all
right.
these extra things in it. And you know, like Mark and I have a digestive enzyme, and we, there's certain supplements that we do. This is just not that. But a lot of those mushroom supplements are supplements for a reason, because there's a whole lot of other stuff in there. And it's how we know it's just, they're not all created equal. And every one of my clients knows that I never recommend a product unless I literally know the people behind the product. And I love that we've known each other for so long. And when you came up with this, I'm like, I'm in. It doesn't matter because I know who you are and what you believe in. And so I'd love to share, because we're on this mushroom magic thing right now with our clients, like everyone's loving mushrooms, but I want to really make sure people understand that I don't want you just out there on Amazon looking for mushrooms who are like, this is food. And so we want to be looking at this. What makes, like when you say Purist Mushrooms and it's just mushrooms, you also are certified organic.
Yes,
So
USD organic.
Because
Carrie,
that's hard to get on your label too.
We can trace our mushrooms back to the family that grew them. Wherever that family might be living, where that organic farm might be. So the farms are certified organic, our supplier is certified organic, we're certified organic. And the biggest problem we saw in the industry is people would say, hey, we've got a pure product here, but they wouldn't offer any kind of certificate of analysis saying, we've had this lab certified to be low in toxicity and high in active ingredients. So we decided we wanted to change that. And not only does our supplier provide us with certificates of analysis, we take the product, have our person that puts it in a bag, right? Our manufacturer who just bags the stuff up for us and gets this to look pretty. We test it after it's done with that through another independent lab, a different one, to say, hey, did anything happen along the way? Yep. Are we still the purest mushroom someone can buy? And it's not that mixing this with other compounds, right? If I wanted to mix some lion's mane with L-theanine and a little bit of caffeine, and that's not bad.
It's no longer food. It's a supplement.
It's a supplement then. And we wanted a food. Yeah. We wanted to make the purest mushroom that you could buy. Like your ancestors had before we had any of this manufacturing. They'd grow lion's mane, or they'd find lion's mane and just shove it in. And they knew thousands of years ago, this stuff's good if you're having problems with your cognition. This stuff's good if you need some energy. This, just like, I go back to always the indigenous medicine from wherever I'm traveling in the world. Yeah. What do the indigenous people say this is medicine? And some of that plant stuff that they've been using since before they were writing it down, that they just know up here because they learned it from great grandpa, that stuff works. Some of it works really, really well. It's not just shaking an ooga booga stick saying this is going to work. It's not placebo. And we know that these mushrooms aren't placebo because I can go to PubMed and find published clinical trials, one after another, after another, after another, with turkey tail against cancer.
I mean, that's so incredible about this. We have historical, there's nothing out there, right? There's certainly not a medication, and don't get me started on the shot, but there's nothing else out there in any sort of a form that has the amount of historical background to it and viability and efficacy, as well as modern day studies without side effects, like in food. And if you look at your ingredients, it says other ingredients. None.
What? Yeah, we don't put anything in there, and we test for purity. So we want to make sure, because I can have a lion's mane product that's loaded with heavy metals.
Right, right. Because it matters where it's grown, how it's grown.
How it's grown, where it's grown, what it's grown on, how it's processed, all of that matters.
Yeah.
The soil that it's in, I mean, these things can pick up some heavy metals, lead, arsenic, whatever, mercury, from whatever they're growing in or on as well. So not only do we tell you you get the purest mushrooms, we make sure there's not stuff in there that's going to hurt you if you take it every day. And we make sure that you're getting the most active ingredients available in that product that you could find in the marketplace.
That's why knowing you and being to talk to you, like who else, when you go on Amazon or when you go on any other website, are you going to be able to have that conversation with the person, see and feel their heart? And I think that that's why it's so important to me that if I'm going to recommend something to people, it's like I can have these conversations with people like you.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And you know what? Carrie, we're about to make millions of dollars and retire on an island somewhere in the British Virgin.
Go to islands and scuba dive, like you.
I was just on one, but that's
to go on scuba diving. That's what you do. That's how you pay. That's like people work for their mortgage. You work to go scuba diving.
Yeah, but we're not. Purist Mushrooms we didn't price this out of line. It's price competitive with every other mushroom product out there, and we're the cleanest product on the market, and all of that other fun stuff that goes along with who we are as people. We don't want to just make a quick buck. We want to make sure the people consuming our product get better because they're doing it.
I love that.
Or at least not get sicker, right? Or at least that.
I mean, absolutely. And this is like a no-brainer. I always talk about no-brainer things that we can be doing on top of, we're 1% a day, right? This is such an easy 1% that could have so many benefits. If we're at Purist Mushrooms and we go to Discover, this is where I also appreciate Dan so much because he's about education too. I mean, he is a teacher at heart. He speaks. His main work is speaking all around the country, all around the world about health and wellness. And so if you are like, okay, where are we? I know a lot of you have read Stacey Sims and Next Level, and she talks a lot about mushrooms and always wonder, like, what should I be doing? Look at the site. Like, it tells you exactly what you need to be, what your focus is. If you go to learn more, you can learn more all about the mushroom. And then it just keeps going. Look at all of them that you guys have.
Yeah. We have 5 specific varieties or species of mushrooms, and you can buy the 5-pack, save a little bit of money. I tell people if you're looking for how to do this, you take lion's mane and cordyceps in the morning, you take reishi at night, and then you take the other 2 if you've got immune or other dysfunction, or I can't even tell you how many people we have that are going through active treatment for diseases that are taking our turkey tail and our chaga product. And
like
we've got
morning, night, and
whenever you want to put it on there, put it on their evening meal.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you can be sprinkling this on your pizza. You can be putting this in your dressings. You can be putting this in your coffee. I've been putting it in my smoothie lately. Like, just mixing it up, put it in your soups, all of that, because it's food. And I think that's what's so important. And so I love this. I love this for us. I love that doing this kind of stuff takes so much. As somebody that's a co-creator of Zyve, and we have one product, and we've been working on it for 18 months and working on the next one. I know how much work goes into stuff like this. And so it's incredible. Now, you also have something that you guys are working on that I think nobody else knows about, and you're going to maybe tell us.
Are you ready? And Carrie, I'll probably get a copy of this and share it out there on my page or the Purist page too. But let me tell you, we are working on a tablet that has one ingredient, and that's mushrooms. And I have some from R&D. Now, we're having a little trouble getting these to stick together when we add the mycelium. So mushrooms have 2 parts. Just like a tree. Well, it's more than that, but let me simplify this. I'll oversimplify. You have the part of the mushroom that you see. Right? The thing that sticks out of the ground, that's called the fruiting body.
Okay.
And then you have the part that grows underground, or the roots, if you will, that's called the mycelium. In some mushroom species, if you add the mycelium back to the fruiting body, you double its potency.
Oh, interesting.
So what we're doing with our product is we are creating a single ingredient tablet that will be solid mushrooms, but we're blending mycelium with the fruiting body into a tablet. That's one of them right there that you can, and that's single ingredient. There's no filler in this. There's no dextrin added. There's no binding agent. So if I look at
anytime you're doing a capsule or a tablet, you will always always really. I don't know that there's any without any sort of a filler or something.
We're not having one.
You're just pressing.
Our manufacturer
pressing what's in here.
And we're adding the mycelium back in on 2 of the species because it literally doubles how well it's going to work in the body, lion's mane being one of them. Because there's evidence that if you can get the mycelium, the part that grows underground that you can't see, the original internet for trees is mushroom mycelium. That's how they communicate with one another in the forest. They use the mycelium network of fungus to talk to one another. That's how trees communicate in the forest. If you can take that part with the fruiting body and mix it together, you can double what it's doing in the body. So this thing, when we have these available later this year, nobody else will have it. And the people that are trying to create these will be using some sort of a binding agent. We are dead set on not using a binding agent or a capsule around these, because we are dead set on making sure it's the purest mushroom available.
And so as you think about this tablet, do you think that replaces your powders?
Well, a lot of people like to put pills in their mouth because they're already taking supplements.
So what you it's fast and easy.
Yeah, and that's why, right? I don't like the texture of my coffee. Okay, take the tablet.
Yeah,
I love taking this, but I always miss the afternoon because I'm on the go. Good, take the tablet. So what we're trying to do is offer people options. And what we found in the marketplace is a lot of people like the convenience of something that can just pop in their mouth and go. We just don't like encapsulating it in something else. So we want to make sure it's mushroom on mushroom with the cleanest product available.
I love it. I'm so excited. So I will share our link to be able to have you all go get your mushrooms and try it out. Grab the 5-pack, grab one. I mean, I love having all of the options in front of me, depending on what it is, but I'm always on the website kind of like, okay, like it's a little bit of an education. I'm like, what is it that I need? Now, of course, it's all on the packaging too, but there's just a little bit more information on the website too.
And the other tabs on the website have even more information. You could sit on that website for hours and read and educate. But what I tell people, and Carrie, I know you do too, you can educate all day long, but that's not going to make your biceps bigger. The way you make your biceps bigger, you got to take your education and go do.
You got to go do something with it.
So go do. If you want to get mushrooms, get mushrooms. And I think I'll tell you what, I haven't seen anyone hurt by these. And unless you're allergic to mushrooms, you're not going to be worse off because you're adding some of these to your regimen. And it's not a supplement, it's just food. So put it in your food budget, throw some mushrooms on your stuff or in your smoothies or in your coffee. You're good to go. We've got some of the top colorectal surgeons in the world recommending our chaga mushrooms for their clients, for their patients, because of what that does for the gut and rebuilding some of the gut biome and reducing inflammation. And look, I'm not going to say this is going to cure anything, folks, because you can't. It's food. I say take the stuff for a good 90 days and then you make an assessment on if it's having an impact. That's what we do with foods, right? A 90-day trial.
And that's the thing. It's like you are what you absorb. And if you're doing something that's it's gonna absorb and help your gut, you're gonna see a benefit. But it like anything, it's consistency over time. 1 day, 2 day doesn't really convince your body that you're actually doing something. So
hey, look, I can take a lion's mane product and I might see a benefit, right? Yeah. If I'm in a bad spot and I take that and I'm like, I feel better today. Yes. Maybe it's placebo, maybe it's a lion's mane. You take this stuff for 90 days, I guarantee your mornings are going to be better. You're going to have different cognitive processes because I know what lion's mane is doing with the neural connections in your brain. We've seen it in laboratory studies. There's clinical trials out there on this stuff. We just happen to, we haven't done clinical trials with our product because we don't have to, because there's already clinical trials out there. We just have the clean version available.
Have the purest, literally the purest mushrooms.
That's
it, Dan. So good. I love every time you're back. Put in the comments what you've learned. If you want Dan to come back. I mean, Dan, you could pretty much talk about all sorts of topics. Like if you want something on health and wellness, I could call Dan and be like, Dan, we're talking about X. And you'd be like, all right, let's go. Am I right?
Whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Awesome. Dan, you're the best. Thank you so much. Thank you for bringing this into our lives, for educating us, and for always answering my calls.
I appreciate you guys.
Get you. Bye.